She is a mom of 4, and she's also been married for 25 years. Now that is dedication, and she knows commitment. Now she actually dedicated 20 years of her career to financial services, where she educates families about financial education, debt elimination, and also budgeting. So let's welcome Helena.
Thank you for having me, AmanTea. I'm so excited to be here with you. I absolutely adore your show, and I'm so glad that I'm able to join you on the white couches, the famous white couches. Yay!
So before we get started on the interview, and thank you so much again for coming on here, I'm actually gonna talk about what tea I have today. So I want you to taste it. So it's made with oolong, it's made with papaya, and you can taste how strong it is, right? And the reason why you could really taste is because a lot of the bagged teas that are just like the normal brands, they don't allow the leaves to spread and open. And so what a lot of the pyramid bags are, or many of the sachets or whatever, they allow the tea leaf to expand, and this is going to strengthen the taste of the tea, the astringency, different things. So this is very good.
And this is very strong. Like if you took coffee and you put it in the coffee pot,
exactly,
and it has a really strong taste, really great flavor. I'm so glad to be sitting here and be able to enjoy this tea with you.
Thank you so much. Now, I would like to preface that the death rate of Black Americans has actually declined by 25%.
Wow.
In 17 years. Now, this is actually from the CDC.
That's a big deal.
It is a big deal, but it is for Black Americans 65 and older. But yes, interesting.
So wisdom from our elders. A lot of times we don't want to take the time out and to listen to their stories. I know their stories could be long. And in this instant world, we want to keep moving. And it's like, I don't have any time for the elders.
Exactly.
But obviously they know something.
They know something. And the more information that comes out, they're absorbing it and actually applying to their life. And unfortunately, according to the CDC, it's from chronic diseases. And now people, Black Americans, 20, 30, 40 years old, are actually getting chronic diseases that would be found in white populations later in life.
Especially when you consider that people are living longer and longer.
Exactly.
I mean, some people are living to 100. So 40 is not even middle age if you're gonna live to 100, right?
Yeah. So I want to preface what chronic diseases are, right? So they're actually defined by the CDC, so it's not just any information out there, as conditions that last 1 year or more and require constant medical attention. And these are very high for Black Americans. So I just want to ask you some questions about your life, right?
Okay, sure.
How was health growing up? What was the sentiment around health growing up?
Well, that's funny that you would ask me that, because of course I'm a Black American. And the thing about it is that I feel like in my family, health wasn't a priority. We were a very social family. We were a loving family. And usually with Black families, what do we do? How do we love?
Eat.
Right? Eat. You have got to eat. And what are you eating? You're not eating carrots and salads, right? You're eating the soul foods, the macaroni and cheeses, the fried chicken, the collard greens. Gotta have some meat in those collard greens, right? And that's what you're eating. And then my parents, they still are, they're foodies. But when you're a foodie and your metabolism doesn't work like an athlete, some of these competitive eaters, they gobble down 50 hot dogs, but they're in the gym for 5 hours. You're gonna work it off. No, we gobbled down 5 hot dogs, right? And then we sat on the couch and watched TV. So that was my life. That was my life growing up. That's how we thought about health. Most of our family, not all of our family, but most of our family, we're foodies and we enjoyed food and we ate very well. There was not a day that we went without food. Okay? So my parents did a great job in that area.
So what you're telling me is that your concept of health, which was centered around eating large portions,
right,
was embedded in you since you were younger. You were conditioned to think that larger portions, food that tastes good, but not necessarily the most healthier for your body. So it's good for your soul, bringing you closer to the earth. But it's not actually good for keeping you alive on top of the earth. It's good soul-wise, like metaphysically.
Right.
Okay. The things that we find very dear and near to our hearts were something of survival back then. And of course, we can get into the history of that. But right now, we're going to focus on modern day Black Americans and what we're doing now, specifically with you, right? So what does health mean to you now?
Health is very important to me. And I know that health and your body, it starts in your mind. So what I'm really trying to work on, as you see, I have room for growth myself. I'm on my own weight loss journey, my own health journey, my own discovery, right? And the thing about it is that I know if I'm going to lose weight and I'm gonna become healthy, it starts here. Once you change here, you can change anything in your life.
Yeah.
So what I'm doing is I'm working on here with how I relate to food. Food is very emotional.
So you work in the finance industry.
I do.
Right? So how does health affect finance, personal finance overall?
Well, let's think about it. I mean, you mentioned something, chronic illnesses, medication. Medication is extremely expensive, right? So when you think about your finances and you have to budget and say, make sure I have enough money to buy my medication. Some people have to go without because they just can't afford it. It really takes a toll. Look, right now I'm caregiver to my parents. And I see, insurance doesn't always cover everything.
No, it does not.
Right? And then there's co-pays, and those co-pays add up. And they spend a lot of money on their medicine. They spend a lot of money on healthcare just to be able to keep them alive. It is extremely expensive, and it takes a toll on your finances. Definitely. So if we can do little things now while we're younger, like everything starts in your gut, right? It starts with your food. So if we can do little things while we're young and healthy to make sure that we're eating healthy, even if we can't afford organic, but make sure we're eating healthier foods, right? Variation of foods. Make sure that we're exercising. Make sure that we're meditating. Right? Make sure we're visualizing. Where do we see ourselves? That's another thing, mental health. So I remember there was a meme out there on social media, and it had two women that was 80 years old, and one woman, she was overweight, she was walking with a cane and a walker, and the other woman, she was in great shape, right? Muscular, like abs, had a 6-pack, right? In a bikini, worked out in the gym every day. And it really compared, age doesn't mean, I gotta be unhealthy, overweight. It doesn't mean that. It's what definition you give to it. Exactly. Right? Just because you're 80 years old doesn't mean I have to be on a whole bunch of medication. You can be 80 years old, enjoying life in the gym, eating healthy. If you're not married, dating guys, right?
Yeah, golden girls,
right? You be the sugar mama.
And I'm glad you mentioned women too, because a lot of black women in America actually have a higher rate of obesity. It's over half, right? Of our population. Obesity doesn't necessarily say that, you're ugly or anything. It also means that you could possibly have chronic ailments. You're more likely to have that, which in Black America, chronic ailments is something if it's not you, then it's somebody in your close circle that has something that's chronic ailment, that has some sort of chronic illness.
Right.
Now, this doesn't only affect us, but if you want to have kids, it can increase the mortality rate during pregnancy.
That's true.
During labor.
That's true.
It also trickles down to even during this pandemic. I mean, some of my family members had died, but they also had underlying illnesses.
Right.
Now I already know that there goes into a lot a lot of people talk about, hey, they are messing and rigging with a lot of Black Americans in these hospitals, right? Unfortunately.
I mean, it's just like Black women giving childbirth.
Yeah.
Having children during childbirth, they're dying. Or they being sent home and they're not given the medical attention.
Exactly.
That's needed.
So that's also the case. That's a factor as well too, but it's also underlying diseases.
Definitely.
So we have to be very careful with our health.
Right.
It's very costly. There's another question that a lot of people talk about. Oh, healthy food is very expensive, right? Just to spend on substitutes. If I want to get, just this milk or whatever, if I want to get, even if you eat meat, cage-free eggs, a lot of it costs so much money. Right. So to substitute and live a more plant-based diet, or to live a diet that's more healthy, is a little bit more expensive than inexpensive than what I'm used to. So what are some of the ways that you incorporate this into your life? How do you eat healthy despite it being expensive? Or what do you do to try to curb corners in order to still maintain a healthy life?
Well, that's a great question, because I was actually reading an article, AmanTea, and it was talking about certain foods. Like if you're on a budget and you want to eat healthier, right? You want to live more of an organic lifestyle, maybe a plant-based lifestyle, or even if you're eating meat, which is, perfectly fine. But there's certain foods that you want to look at and say, okay, on the list of how much pesticides they use, right? Maybe you want to take these foods and make sure they're organic, okay? So let's say, for an example, and I'm just giving an example because I don't have the article in front of me and all the research behind it, but let's say an apple, okay? Let's say on the list, the apple has the most pesticides. So you might want to say, well, all my apples, I'm going to get organic, but my bananas, I buy them regular. So it's going to be cheaper. So now you're eating something, putting less pesticides in your body because how they treat that apple, right? So I would definitely recommend for people to look up, hey, what fruits and vegetables are better to eat organically versus ones that don't really have to be organic because maybe there's not as much pesticides. This way, now you can look at your budget and begin to save more money in those areas, but still maintain your health. Hey, I buy all my meat organic, right? Yeah. And then I don't have to worry about maybe the vegetables or the starches or something. Maybe they don't have to be organic, so I'll save money on that end. Yeah. And I just have to put a little bit more money into my meat, Or you might want to look at, say for an example, I know a friend of ours, a family friend, they have one day where they go without meat. So one day, like a meatless Monday.
Exactly.
Right?
Meatless
Monday. So the meatless Monday, now sometimes meat can be very expensive. So at least one day out of the week, you're not purchasing meat, so you're saving money.
People could say that substitutes are very expensive, but it's worth the hit a little bit if you could switch it out. And eventually, all of that money you've been spending on milk and buying a whole bunch of cheese, I started to just drop that from my diet anyway. And I started to save money on it in the first place because I'm switching it out. I lose the taste for it. Right. And I'm just like, I don't really want this in the first place. Our bodies adapt. And then instead of buying a whole bunch of milk and cheeses, now I'm just buying almond milk. And I'm just like, I don't have to put a cheese on this. Right. I don't have to put cheese in my salad or necessarily on whatever I eat. Right. Like, I'm just like, I don't want it in the first place. I don't have to taste it. I don't crave it anymore. Right. So eventually when you change your lifestyle, your body will adapt and you don't have to buy those things that won't satisfy you. So you're saving money that way.
We just have to give ourselves enough time because it takes 21 days to form a habit. And financially is look at the store brands. So a lot of store brands, they come out, they have a whole organic line. Yes. So instead of looking at name brands, let's look at store brands, and you're gonna save money because it's a store brand. So that's another financial tip. where now we can maintain our health but save money as well.
That's true. I know that Kroger has a Simply Truth line. In general, just the last question, right? Mm-hmm. How have you incorporated with your financial expertise, how have you incorporated into your decisions about health?
Mm-hmm. Well, one of the things I'm looking at, like I mentioned, taking care of my parents and, taking care of their finances and seeing how much they spend on medication. It's making me more aware and say, you know what, Helena, you better get it together now, right now, get it together now, stay focused long enough till the job gets done and take control of your health. So that's one thing that I'm definitely thinking about. Also just being able to, sometimes, hey, there's a lot of places, and I want you guys to think about that, especially sometimes you don't have to be low income. There's a lot of places that they just give food, and they're looking for, like a lot of churches, they're looking for people to give food to, and they have a lot of produce. So that's another thing where you can go around your neighborhood, and a lot of these churches are nonprofit organizations where they have to give to people. And sometimes you don't even have to qualify, where you can get produce, fresh produce, and be able to cook healthier for yourself. So, and sometimes they just don't have enough people to give it to. So don't ever think, oh, well, I'm making a certain amount of money, I don't want to take it from someone. Sometimes they're like, I have nobody else to give it to. I have to give it to someone or this stuff is going to spoil and they don't want to throw it away. So just being able to, I might go to the farmer's market, or you don't even have to go to a farmer's market. You can go to the regular grocery store, and sometimes like an offshoot grocery store, like an Aldi or something, and they'll have fresh foods, organic stuff where you can get for a lower cost. So I'm just looking at, you know what, I'm in my early 40s, I gotta get it under control now. And also, I want to be able to have enough money for retirement, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't want to put too much money into food, but I know I have to eat healthier. So I'm just really looking at lower cost options to be able to do that.
Because a lot of times, food, fruits, different things are not expensive.
Right?
Meat, a lot of meat can be more expensive.
It can.
Than fruits and vegetables, milk, different snacks that we have. I mean, if you look at a bag of chips, party size, it could be like $3, right. But a bag of apples can be less. So they're just little small things. And I really like the fact that you said, hey, go to a food pantry.
Right.
Go visit a church that may be giving. Follow that. Right. Because they do give a lot of good produce. And they are making changes to try to not just give chips and everything, but to have a healthier population.
Right.
Our focus is to have a healthier community. So that's the number one thing.
Longer lives.
Longer lives.
And healthier, not suffering.
Thank you so much for doing this interview. I really enjoyed it. It was just a conversation just bouncing off of each other.
All right. I enjoyed this too. I had so much fun. And this tea is definitely great.
I could smell it. Like, it's like essential oils. So please, if you like what we're doing, share, subscribe this video, go to my Instagram. It's found down in the description. And please go to the Facebook, AmanTea. Okay, AmanTea Essential, AmanTea Inc. Please. And also hit the notification bell so you can know when these videos are coming out. Videos like these. All right? Good day.
Thank you.